Mr. Johnson, as always, it's good to catch up.
Yeah.
And I was just asking before we started rolling, I'm like, this is sort of like this is your neighborhood. I mean, it's the MedTech conference with AvaMed, but your association and Mass Medics Association with this is pretty intimate, right?
Yeah, I've had a personal relationship with this conference since 2010. So save for the one COVID year, I believe I've been to all of them, which is starting to feel substantial, right? I mean, that's 11, 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
I remember meeting all sorts of incredible people at this conference, both, people that were doing the keynote when I was in my media days and I was interviewing people up on the stage, to now kind of in this role where, it's really more about seeing old friends and then just trying to get them to come back to Boston.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump on that back to Boston because you and the Massachusetts team pulled off an ARPA H.
That's right.
Are you safe in California now?
They can come at me all they want.
So that was a big win.
It's a huge win.
So share that. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So, about a year ago, the federal government announced that they were putting out this new agency called ARPA H, which is a big, sort of a top-down big bet on healthcare. Kind of a space race to create the technologies that are going to change healthcare forever in the United States. So I would say it's heavily based on the DARPA model, which DARPA was introduced in 1958, and it really sought to address gaps in technology that the military could have a military purpose, but also would have a societal purpose. So, out of that you get GPS, night vision, the internet, and
a couple small things.
Yeah, some pretty big societal innovation trends. So they created a healthcare version of this, and this added a second component to it. So first you have this, where are the gaps, right? And those are pretty easy to see in healthcare. We have, 500 treatments for 10,000 known diseases that impact mankind. We spend $3.5 trillion as a country on healthcare every year through either patient care or research. And, so you can see we have big gaps. I say we're in the, we're not at base camp at Mount Everest. We're sort of actually down at, the snack bar at, way below, right? So we're looking up at a huge mountain in healthcare. And this agency is designed to create real change. But what they're adding in the ARPA H model, which is really interesting, is this second market model. And it's well and good to create the platform tech that's going to change healthcare. But healthcare is a unique population, and you actually have to do a lot of innovation on the commercialization side, on the funding side, to get those new treatments into the hands of all patients. So that's a really exciting wrinkle to this, and uniquely healthcare, and I think uniquely important for MedTech innovators. They, in March, put up a contest to see who would be the home to the agency. So they're going to have 3 headquarters. And so we were involved in a really significant contest to win this. We had to, it was a 3-part contest with a white paper, a site visit, and then a final proposal that was somewhere in the neighborhood of about 75 pages. In the proposal process, we had to create and conceive a 50-state healthcare network solution, and really start thinking about, it was like building a plane while it was already in the air. So it was an incredible process that I was lucky enough to be a part of the proposal team with some incredible folks. We worked with the top brass at Battelle, which is a defense and sort of healthcare contractor, works with the federal government. Mass General Hospital, I worked with their Chief Innovation Officer, Chris Coburn, and his team. We worked with our friends at the Mass Hospital Association and
And this
the
was
state.
secretive too, right?
This was all top secret. We met every day for 85 straight days, basically.
On top of your full-time
On top
job
of my
of running
full-time
Mass Medic.
job, yes. Top of my job. There was no leaks allowed. We couldn't talk about it. If it leaked in the press, we were going to lose our chance to win this thing. And we had to pull all this stuff off at top secret. It was very exciting. It was a really exciting process. And one of our core team members, her dad was actually part of the Manhattan Project. So I always thought it was kind of a cool symmetry there that we had this room. And I'll tell you, I don't think I don't think we could ever bill out on an hourly rate the amount of talent that was in that room, but I think we could have solved a couple other problems while we were in there.
What does it mean for Massachusetts? Massachusetts already has, a high level on the podium. I don't know if it's number one or number two. I think the number is 3.3 billion in funding from the NIH, which is the highest per capita in the nation,
Yeah.
and investors 8.7 billion in local biopharma companies.
Yeah.
So does Mass own that top tier right now? It's not that there's a contest, but it's important to acknowledge that.
Well, yes, I do believe we own it. But everything is rented. Nothing is owned, right? And we have a perch, and I think everybody who was involved in this process realized that losing this proposal, losing this contest would be pretty devastating for us because of our elevated perch in life sciences. If you break down life sciences, there are other regions that are very competitive with us on a medical device, strictly medical device component. We're sitting in one. Orange County is a very big MedTech market, but I would not say that this is a MedTech community that is equal to ours. Respectfully, I have a lot of friends here, but there's the community here is not as engaged, even though their sort of raw numbers are impressive. Mm-hmm. And the companies that are here are incredible. And there's some brilliant minds here. But we have a community of innovators in Massachusetts that is unmatched, and our density is extremely high. So for Massachusetts winning this contest it wasn't just sort of a validation of leadership, it was also a protective measure against complacency. And I think that is our biggest threat when you're on top. You take this stuff for granted. I mean, I am from a state that has been the energy capital of the world and we lost it. We were the the fashion capital of the world at one
Super
point.
Bowl champs.
we were the Super Bowl winning dynasty. Things come and they leave, right? But I'm part of this generation, I hope, that understands our history, respects it, and then wants to change the future because of it.
Now, you also sit at the helm of one of the more influential organizations within, it's called Mass Medic, but at the end of the day, it's New England.
Yeah.
It really is, because you've included so many other players within the Mass Medic organization since you took over, and you just had your third anniversary?
Fifth.
Yeah. I should know that.
Yeah.
Fifth anniversary, and I sit on the board, and what you and the team and the board have accomplished is nothing short of incredibly impressive.
We've had a great run. I mean, I took over in 2018. Really didn't get the keys to the kingdom until 2019, and during that time we've doubled the size of our budget, right? So we've doubled sales. We've grown our team. We have had some incredible wins on the advocacy side. We delivered the closing message on the repeal of the medical device tax, which was great. One ARPA-H. Oh, and then in between, helped manage one of the biggest healthcare crises and one of the biggest hotspots during the COVID outbreak. So, 5 years that I probably will think back for the rest of my life as the most impactful, in my career to this date. I'm extremely proud of the progress.
Yeah, and I remember being on the phone with you during COVID, and you were like running Mission Impossible with bags of cash and and containers full of BB.
Containers full of masks, yeah, yeah. I was the mask guy
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
Massachusetts government.
But you were
for a
on the
while.
hotline to the Massachusetts government on a daily basis.
Well, you know, when you have a global pandemic that's a respiratory disease and nobody in government understands what the hell a ventilator is, I guess you're lucky you're the winner.
So what does Massachusetts ecosystem look like with ARPA-H, with MassMedic's momentum, with it being from a venture and a private equity, probably the #1 spot in the U.S. right now.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about medical device because we're at the MedTech conference. I'm not talking about biotech or life science.
So still have a little bit of work to become recognized as the #1 medical technology and medical device market. But I'm willing to throw that challenge down that by 2030 we are unequivocally the #1 medtech market in the world. We have the chance, we have the community, and all we need is the will and the goal to do it. It's an incredible ecosystem. You know, we fight significant headwinds in medtech on the innovation side because our path to commercialization is extremely tough, and investors have an easier place and potentially a more risky investment from a technology side when you look at biotech, but a much for medtech it's much less risky. The product's going to work, right? But the investment risk is much higher, right? Because you're investing money in not just the technology, you're investing money in the inventor of that technology's ability to fit their price point and the technology's price point within a construct of the United States reimbursement system,
Right.
which is like an incredible hurdle. You know, when you think about it, they not only have to de-risk the tech, then they have to de-risk the commercial model, and I think it's a double bang for these companies, and so we have to help them minimize risk in every other piece of the value chain, and that's what we're going to work on in MassMedic, and we're going to work on that as a state, because I'm not dragging the state with me, but you know, they're in for the ride, but you know, we're handcuffing ourselves to each other, and we're going. And you know, the fact that we have the state with us so much gives us the chance to really do this.
And what's great is it's always been supportive. I've been engaged in the MedTech community in Massachusetts for 30 years now. And regardless of who is in the State House, the support is equal.
Yeah.
Why is that, out of all the states in the union?
Because our story is really good, and our products are incredible, and we do good things for people. And I think that when you have that, the fact that you're also a major employer, that you create a big tax base for the state, makes it a pretty easy sell. I also think that when you come to, you know, Massachusetts, obviously we have a national reputation of being an extremely liberal place, and I think that you know, some people might think that, you know, we're, you know, as far left as you can get, but it's, you know, I would say most people that run for governor, that run for these positions, understand that you don't get anywhere without the business community as your partner. And you know, we've had a good run with governors who understand that to make real sustained change, you need partners from all sides. That rhetoric alone doesn't make this stuff work.
You know, I'm also going on a limb here and probably going to alienate some of my customers in other states.
Yeah.
But New Englanders always want to do good. More than bankers, right? More than legal people. They always want to do good.
Yeah.
And you find that in the phone calls, the thousands of phone calls I've had with the people in our industry. First and foremost, they always want to do good. And yeah, we want to make money doing it too.
Yeah.
But there are some other communities in this country that the money is more important than doing good.
Yeah. Well, we may not want to do good, but when given the choice, we usually will pick doing good. even though we may have to verbally abuse the person or the group that we're doing good for.
Well, there's three pastimes in Boston: sports, revenge, right, and politics. So.
Yeah, yes, I would say probably. Yeah, I don't know in that order anymore, but like, you know, it is an interesting place to come from. You know, it's not a place that you know you make a lot of deep friendships there. It takes a long time. I have seen mostly people in a crisis run into the action rather than run away, which always makes me feel good. That's kind of how I'm wired. You know, I want to help. I want to be part of the solution. You know, I hope that what you say is true. And you know, I've seen a lot of examples of it, but you know, we got a lot of road ahead to prove this.
So as we wrap up, for those that maybe are living under a rock and don't know the mission of MassMedic, share it with them.
So we seek to, at MassMedic, we're trying to make sure that our ecosystem is built on sort of shared pillars of innovation and equity and connectiveness, right? So we try to create a really harmonized environment for companies in MedTech to start, to grow, and to engage and connect with each other. You know, we're a trade association, so we're a member-based organization, and we pipeline our members' concerns and their hopes up to our elected officials. That's one piece of what we do. We are, you know, innovation alchemists. We are in, at this point, we are in touching nearly everything that has to do with innovation in Massachusetts, which is great because Massachusetts is a global capital for innovation. So we have this front row seat to be able to help make innovation on an ecosystem level happen easier. And you do that one member at a time. You build this thing, you know, the one person company at a time, all the way up to the Johnson & Johnsons. You have to be accountable to all of them. You have to be able to listen to them and understand their needs. And then you have to be able to explain those needs. Because at some point you'll have a senator or a governor ask you, well, what are your members' concerns? And if you run a trade association and you can't express that, you're not very good at your job. And oh, by the way, you also need to have some answers after you tell them all the concerns they have, because then they're going to say, well, what can we do? And that's the part that I've sort of learned over the last 5 years, is that you have to have 2 or 3 answers in your pocket. You know, when they say, well, that's great, let me help, how can we help? What do you got to do? And so for that, we have to source and we have to listen. And you know, we create these incredible events at MassMedic. Our team does an incredible job of making events that are authentic and genuine, but also, I think, create a lot of deep business connections. We create a ton of economic activity just by being connectors in this community. So, you know, it's always it doesn't fit in the back of a matchbook very easily. But maybe 5 years I'm distilling it. I might, in 5 more, maybe get it down to a matchbook size.
Yeah, well, as a member for a long time and a board member for a long time, I will tell you that there's no deeper sort of relationships in the MedTech, and the generosity of CEOs of billion-dollar companies will sit there and spend time with a 4-person startup.
Yeah.
As easily as they would, you know, sitting here at the conference with somebody like you or Whitaker. So, you know, if you're not a member and you're a venture-backed company, your venture partners should force you to be a member if you don't even know about it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No surprise.
Yeah. So.
But it's a real honor to serve this community. I care deeply about this community, and I really believe in what we do. You know, ecosystems matter. Ecosystems produce remarkable change, and it's been proven over time. And that's what we do. We keep this ecosystem together and connected.
Well, we'll take the 5 you gave us and hopefully another 5.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Mullings from the AvaMed MedTech Conference in Anaheim. Be well.